Good morning, Hannah. It's still raining here as the neighborhood that had a rough night last night. This neighborhood was swamped with police and fire officials. They're all gone now as the investigation into what caused this explosion continues. The AR-15 is currently illegal in 5 states, and several states have restrictions on the size of magazines you can buy. But Eric Sonnenberg says even those laws can't prevent every tragedy. I spoke with REA President Karen Bischke shortly before the meeting, and she told me there's really not a lot she can say other than what happens tonight will be the will of their 1,800 members. This is the beginning of a busy day for Vice President Joe Biden. He's headed to Superior next, then spending the night in Aurora, Colorado. The man who wants his job, Paul Ryan, he's in Colorado, then Iowa, then meeting his running mate Mitt Romney in Ohio. Now, one of the first questions I asked state police is how do they know a driver is sending a text message and not just making a phone call? They say when they see drivers holding their phones up for a long amount of time like this, they know they're sending and receiving text messages and not just making a phone call. To get ready for this week's show, 20 Valkyries practice 3 to 4 hours a week, 4 to 5 days a week, just to make sure this week's performances were great. And I can tell you from experience, it's not easy. This week, we got a big group, right? All right, so we're going to introduce you to a few people. We got the cheerleaders. We got the blue crew. We got the football team. The Rockford Rescue Mission has been taking donations since 5 o'clock. And now if you came out and brought a can, you're entered for a $100 drawing, and we're going to find out who the winner is this hour. Hey, guys, I just wanted you to see my new friend. This is Midnight. 2,400-pound bull, 7 years old, and a lot tamer than I was expecting. A lot tamer.
You don't look very comfortable up there.
Hello and welcome to 13 News at noon. I'm Aaron Wright. We'll get to that story in just a minute, but first we'd like to get you up to speed on a story developing right now. The Rockford Fire Department is evacuating and barricading the 1200 block of Holland. Without a budget deal in Washington, major cuts are coming. Some people say good because it's a way to force government spending down. Wonder if you have any thoughts you can share about the Northern Illinois Huskies, our region's biggest team, taking on Florida State in the Orange Bowl. Police arrest 2 brothers after an investigation that lasts several months. The Rockford Police Department's narcotics unit arrested Scotty Valentine Jr. and Martavius Valentine on multiple drug charges.
We turned on one the other day, and the people that were showing their video were wearing disguises, you know. So they clearly don't want to be seen.
This is how it begins, a teen in a video chat room being watched by people she can't see, people who can record everything she says and does. Supervisory FBI Special Agent Gregory Wing explains how predators can even fool video cameras.
Well, there's ways to circumvent the video system. So I could actually play a video and make you believe that I'm somebody that I'm not. I could change my sex, my age, the gender. It's really simple.
Because of the sensitive nature of her work, we can't show you this agent's face or screen name. But once in a chat room, it doesn't take long before men 3 times the age of the agent's 13-year-old avatar approach her.
I'll be in here. I won't have even said anything. I won't have told anybody anything about me other than my age. And all of a sudden, you'll see webcams popping up with men masturbating. They know I'm 13 years old. They think I'm 13, and they don't care.
Guys like Hunky Dessert were all too eager to share video with us, dancing in front of us in his underwear, even after the agent told him she was a 13-year-old girl. While you might think what he's doing is morally wrong, he hasn't broken the law.
Well, technically, he hasn't done anything wrong. If he was to be completely nude or masturbate, that's a crime.
Here at FBI offices in Chicago, we get to see firsthand how pedophiles have moved from chat rooms into video chat, where they can now see their potential victim face to face, who often can't see them.
Predators, what they're doing is they're looking at the background of the individual that they're speaking with. They could see certain posters on the wall. So if they like a certain artist, they'll use that against that child. They can see what high school they go to. They have, in the past, met up with these children at high school games. They have kind of stalked them. They know where they're going. They know when they're playing. Because they're very forthcoming on the internet. Oh, I got a big soccer game tomorrow. And that individual will show up to that game. Now, the person that they're chatting with may not even know what that person looks like.
Often when the case comes to the FBI, it's too late to help. Special Agent Wing says that's where parents have to step up.
Well, unfortunately, we cannot be the police of the internet. That's a parent's responsibility. Parents need to be involved in their child's life. They need to know what's going on and understand some of the repercussions.
And he said, Don't scream, I won't hurt you.
This is surveillance video of the man Staub and her son, Toby Haldeman, believed broke into their home last Friday and attacked them.
And I kept screaming. And then my son came and started beating him up and threw him to the floor.
I was in another room and I heard my mother scream, and when I got into the kitchen, he had my mother up against the wall with a knife to her throat, and I just started throwing punches.
Staub says she knows how the man got into their home.
He cut the screen, reached in and undid the lock.
The intruder would come up a flight of stairs and corner Staub in the kitchen. Haldeman says the intruder got lucky. He usually keeps a loaded gun on him when he's home. Last Friday, it was upstairs and unloaded after target practice.
That's the first thing I had to do, is save my mother. Had I gone for the gun that was in that room, you know, my back would have been to him. He could have started stabbing my mother.
Staub says she doesn't feel safe living in Rockford anymore.
This is a bad area. I just don't know why people even want to live here.
Byron Emerson has known Brandon Wright his whole life. They grew up together and he considers him his brother. He's still shaken up from learning his friend is gone.
A friend of mine knocked on my door at 8 o'clock in the morning on Saturday and told me the news. And it's been shock. I'm still in shock.
Emerson says the 23-year-old's death isn't the only focus of the walk.
This event is to bring awareness that this madness in Rockford needs to stop.
Family friends tell 13 News Wright recently graduated from Western Illinois University and was doing his best to be successful after college.
He's come along being a fine young man and had a very promising future ahead of him, and so it's just been cut short tragically because of this incident.
Prayer Walk organizer Dan Petrie says Wright was a positive influence on everyone who knew him.
Brandon was just such a humble individual, always smiling, always trying to have a good time, always a pleasure to be around. From his coaches to family members, friends, teachers, always they loved being around him. So I think, Brandon definitely left a mark on this community.
Petrie says it's important for the whole community to know who Brandon Wright was and make sure something like this doesn't happen again.
People who were affected, by this tragedy, came out, showed their support, not just for Brandon and his family, but for the community. This is taking a step to change in the community, and it starts in all of us.